Hello, good evening. Welcome to Talkin Kop. It's me, Chris Brack. It's him, Kev O'Sullivan, and we're going to do a bit of a Southampton preview for the Carabao Cup, and we'll have a bit of a general chat about fussy. How you doing, Kev? They've let us loose again.
Hiya, mate. How's it going? You all good? A couple of more days to
We're not talking. We're not
finish
talking
work.
about the fact you've only got one day left. You can
One more day,
fuck
mate.
off.
One more
Yeah.
day. But no, this day week,
Look at
it'll
Kev.
be
I've not even got not even a minute in the show, and you've got me swearing.
one day. Is it this day week? It's this day week? This day week?
No, it's a week tomorrow, isn't it?
That's the week tomorrow. Oh,
Week
yeah.
tomorrow, yeah.
I don't know.
It's
No.
Christmas Eve a week today. God.
Well, Christmas Eve starts tomorrow, mate. That's okay. I'm
Ah,
all good. How's everything with you guys anyway? You all right? You all good?
Yeah. I've literally been in 10 minutes. My daughter's been at a Christmas party with a footy team, so in a bowling alley, which was unreal noisy. I was like, so my head's pounding.
Cool.
So
well, some heads in the chat. Cantor's is in, Dan Austin's in, Mitch is in, Tom Boland is in, Thora's in, Hotline's in, Joe's in. So hello everyone. Hope you're all good. Tomorrow I know Gav said let's do a preview of the Southampton game tomorrow night. But do you have any clue what's going to happen tomorrow night with lineups and all that kind of crap?
No, I sent you a David Lynch. He did a predicted lineup, and it was just literally like him what he guessed. But it's hard to tell because normally Klopp's not one for big rotation, so you're sort of thinking like, oh, he'll go fairly strong. He has done in most games, but he just dropped a few lines in his press conference, like these sort of games where you have to use your academy, and there's a few academy lads he didn't play the other day. And he said, and you'll probably see some senior players in positions you wouldn't expect, which was like, oh. I mean, my immediate mind went Curtis Jones right back. But
yeah,
I could get a good idea of what I think the midfield will be, what I think the attack will be. Although following the conversation about Jota and Chiesa, I'm now thinking both of them aren't going to start. They're going to be on the bench. It's the defence, because you can make an argument of doing 50-50s, as in Van Dijk do 45, then Gomez do 45. But I can easily see him playing a back four that has never played together and he's very young. So
I'm looking forward to it. All right. I'm hopeful that we're going to get to see plenty of players that we don't normally see. I'm looking forward to seeing how they gel, because that's going to be the difficult thing. We all see it whenever we put out an 11 that doesn't normally play together. It's one thing when you're doing it when Klopp was there, because everyone knew the style of play from day dot. So everyone was drilled in it, and it was second nature to everyone when they came in. It was kind of seamless in a lot of games, but it still took 20 minutes, half an hour for it to click. This is all different because it's a 4-2-3-1, and it's a different way. It's a different way for everyone to try to adapt to. Yeah, it's okay for people coming in and they're training and stuff, but doing it in a match situation away from home, in a quarterfinal of a League Cup, is a difficult task, irrespective of where you're going. You're going to a Premier League club who've just sacked their manager after a 5-0 hiding.
That's the thing. You don't even know what they're going to do.
We don't know. We haven't a clue what they're going to do. Yeah.
Because you look at them going, if he was still there, Russell Martin, thinking, I think they'd go heavy rotation, because the biggest game for them is Fulham away next at the weekend. But then you're like, but they got embarrassed by Tottenham. Let's be honest, that I saw bits of that game. Second half was generally Tottenham patting them on the head saying, it's 5-0, we won't hurt you anymore. Yeah. Tottenham was just resting, going, we've got a big game on Thursday. So that's the reason it wasn't 8 or 9. I think Tottenham went, you're done. When you're having to make a sub after 20 minutes, and it's a tactical sub, you've completely balls up. I mean, I still don't think Russell Martin knows it was 5-0, because he fucked off at 4-0 and down the tunnel.
He didn't, did he?
He did. He went at 4-0. At 4-0, he did the thing almost when they go down the tunnel, to get ready for the half time. He's like a minute before. As he went down the tunnel, went round the corner. Tottenham made it. So he never saw it.
You just want the ground to open up underneath and just swallow your whole.
They had to sack him, because I'll be honest, I'm not sure he got on the ground alive.
Mate,
I think they did.
I had a conversation with Gav going back a while, on here on one of these shows. We couldn't for the life of us understand what is the point of why he's trying to do. You can, it's all well and good having these lofty ambitions. You want to go up, you want to play football. It got them up through the playoffs, and that's all well and good. But let's not kid ourselves. Vincent Kompany got the Bayern Munich job because he's Vincent Kompany, not because of what he did at Burnley. It's because he's Vincent Kompany, and his refusal to adapt to his surroundings, to adapt to the quality that he was coming up against week in, week out, got him done in the end. And the irony is, he came up against another manager who was completely unpragmatic in how he approaches football. But Postecoglou approaches football in a way of, I'm just going to relentlessly attack you. We're going to score loads of goals and hope that's enough.
Yeah.
And against the Southampton, that's fine. Spurs score goals for fun. And it's like, coming up against a side like Southampton, that was always going to happen. But the thing is, we don't have a clue what this guy's going to do. And the thing is, does he, and I think this is what he's going to do as well. I think that they'll go as strong as humanly possible and look to try to stay in the League Cup as long as possible. Because
just give him something, I suppose, to be happy about.
Give the fans something to cheer about. The draw opens up. Look, tomorrow is far from a given. Very far from a given the changes that and look, all right, as much as the club will like to say yes, we're focused on the next game. I really fucking hope they're not. I really hope the focus is on Sunday.
I mean, I can't see Gravenberch even being in the squad.
No, and nor should he be.
And I don't think Alisson will be either. I think they're the two I could say are dead certain not to basically be Gravenberch be watching it on a date with his girlfriend again.
Exactly. I mean, I'm looking at it.
In fact, Gravenberch hasn't played any of the League Cup ties. I don't think he's been in any of the squads.
No, and he shouldn't be. Look, at the end of the day, this should be how we say it with the keepers. It was Kelleher's competition. It was your number two's competition. You can literally do the same thing with Gravenberch and Endo. This is Wataru Endo's competition. Tyler Morton's competition. They should be playing in this.
You'd expect McAllister to come back in only because he literally played for two. He's missed the last 2 games. He's had like 10 days off, hasn't he? 10, 14 days off.
100%. But the rest of it, and he kept talking about it in his press conference today I can only make 5 subs. So there are going to be first team players who are going to have to play 90 minutes.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to throw any of the players who were injured into a situation where they'll have to play 90. But I can definitely see a situation where one will do 45 and the next person will do 45.
Yeah, I can see that.
I just look at this and I think tomorrow night's game is 50-50 for me because Southampton have something to play for. It's fresh in their memory as well. The 3-2, after the international break, they'll feel like they could have got something out of that, and they have to try something, and I think this manager who's got the job, whether it's for one game or he might get the weekend as well, he owes them nothing. There's no reason why he shouldn't look at this and say, look, I can try and get scalp over Liverpool here. Why not? Why wouldn't you want to go for it? I can't. I mean, the pragmatist and the long-term thing for Southampton should be, we're going to rotate, and we're going to give opportunities to players who haven't really played much, and we're going to rest our core group for the weekend's game because it's vital. But you look at the table and you look at their ability to be able to get results. It's highly unlikely that they manage to stay in the league. But if the possibility of a League Cup semi-final doubleheader comes up in January, why wouldn't you want to give that a lash? Because who knows how the draw might pan out? Because it's not just Liverpool in the quarterfinals that are going to be going in rotating heavily. This quarterfinal draw, depending on the results, could really open up for everybody.
Yeah, because you'd expect Arsenal to rotate because they've got Palace at home, but then they've got Palace again at the weekend. Newcastle, Brentford, in my head, should both go as strong as they can because why wouldn't you? It's a chance to win the trophy. Neither are going to get top four, I wouldn't think. So, and to be honest, Tottenham and United, I can see them both going strong because I'll be honest, Tottenham Man needs something to cling on to because the league form hasn't been what they want. And for Amorim, he's so new in the job. It's just about building confidence, building momentum. Back the City results up with a win against Spurs. So that it's two big wins back to back. It's a confidence builder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they've all got different things riding on it.
I'll be honest, right? I look at the Spurs United one on Thursday night. I think Spurs do have to rotate. They are a bit thin on the ground in certain positions.
But they also haven't got many to rotate with, especially
I know.
defensively.
Then they're going to have to do what we're doing, and they might have to look at the under 23s and draft a few in and rotate to manage the minutes around, and hope that being at home against the Man United side that you can get at, that it'll be enough to try and get through. But Manchester United, on the back of the win against City at the weekend, despite the fact that it was a diabolically bad game of football, should be look. If Amorim can win a trophy this, in his first season, Postecoglou desperately needs a trophy. And then you look at, Arteta he's counting Champions Leagues now, or sorry, Champions League Charity Shields.
That's when
Charity Shields that's when the pressure is on for him.
So I've got I know you can say so I've won 3. I'm like, oh, okay. Gavin Walsh put in the chat. I don't think anyone will be bothered if we lost this game. I would, because winning's a nice habit to get into, and we've drawn our last 2 league games. So, and our away form's been a bit. While we've got the results, the performance haven't been there. So I actually think it's a habit we want to get back into, which is winning games. For me personally, I think it's no bad thing, And I understand people saying the priority is the league and the Champions League, and I get that, but I don't think any club's big enough to pick and choose. Or we'll go for the League Cup next year. No, if you've got a chance to win it, go for it. Especially when you get to this level. When you get to quarterfinals, you're only 3 games from a final.
For me, I always look at the League Cup as enjoy it. I'm looking for performances, and if you go through, great. If you don't go, if we get a good performance tomorrow night out of half a dozen players that I haven't seen in a while, and they give Arne Slot a question to answer for future selections, maybe I can trust Wataru Endo to come in and do a job against XYZ, or I can trust Tyler Morton to come in with 20 minutes to go to shut down a side or to try to create something. I think if you see a performance out of players, I think the results will come anyway. But if we go through, fine. If we don't go through, there's positives in that. I think it's still a double header semi-final in January that would be nice if we didn't have to play a double header, especially if, for argument's sake, you get a double header against Arsenal or a double header against Manchester United. It's not exactly what you really need in a congested January. But at the same time, if we get through and that's what we're dealt with, then that's what we're dealt with, and you deal with it then. I still maintain last season winning this is right up there with some of the best days watching Liverpool I've had because of the context of how it was won and who won it. But at the same time, not at the expense of the big 2 competitions.
But
cup run is great. If you go in and you win it, or you compete you get into the latter stages and you do well, but I'm okay with it. But it can't be at the detriment of the league and the Champions League.
Yeah, well, to play devil's advocate, because of how well we've done in the first 6 games of Champions League, I think it would be highly unlikely they're not in the top 8. So I think he would heavily rotate for those Champions League games if you got a tough semi-final. So that's the way to look at it.
I mean, JS makes a point here. If we get through, it's a semi-final. Who cares who we play? Just win. Yeah, that's fine. You get through, you want to win. That's grand. But it's not get through and right. We're going to put out our strongest 11, irrespective of whether they need rest or not, or whether they need rotating or not, because it's the semi-final. It has to be. There has to be a lot of joined up things.
I just think for January, I think we've had a kind FA Cup draw, and I think we've also had a kind. And then I think because of the way we've done in the Champions League, you can afford to rest and rotate in the Champions League games. Which, let's be honest, no one thought we'd be doing that in January. So it's one of those things. I've seen like Gavin saying, if a key player gets injured, we'll all be fuming. It's true, but you can't guarantee.
No.
But at the same time, we've lost. As much as I take the mickey, Tsimikas, who has been a very good rotation option for us this season, did his ankle in training, so you could do it anytime.
But there's no need to take unnecessary risk. I mean, if we come on tomorrow night and the first thing we talk about is let's talk about the starting lineup, right? Yeah, it was Trent, Gomez, Virgil, and whoever playing at left back. And you go with Gravenberch, McAllister, and Jones because you want to get them back up and running. And Salah's playing on the left. You'll be like losing the plot. So what are they doing playing in this game?
But there are going to be some first teams who play. Whether people like it or not, there are going to be some. Maybe not as many as some think, but there's definitely some that will get rested, some that won't. I think defence is the hardest one to pick because you can make an argument for 4 changes and loads of kids, or you can make an argument for players in 45 minutes. I mean, left back's going to be difficult because we haven't got one, apart from a kid.
Yeah, but Richard makes a point here. Tottenham, Manchester United, and Southampton will be going all in with full teams for this one. They all need to salvage their season, and
English Premier League, Champions League
United are unlikely. Yeah, I agree 100% with that. I think they are. No, I think they are. I think they're out of reach.
Well, the way England sides are doing in Europe, 5th spot is now looking more and more likely for a Champions League spot. I'm not saying they'll get it, but there is a potential new avenue opening.
It's a very outside chance at the minute. I mean, the thing is, you expect Chelsea to go deep and, probably go on and win the Conference League. But after that, it's a lottery. Anything could happen from there on. I wouldn't be banking on it, but you never know. I think that there's definitely clubs in this competition that need a win in this competition. They need silverware. If it's not going to be us, I'd love to see Thomas Frank pick up silverware. I really do, because I think with the job that he's done at Brentford over the years, with the budget that he's had, knowing that he's going to have to be selling players and the style of play that he plays, and I just like him, so it's like this competition really is wide open. It could go anyway. I don't expect. I think we'll have enough to beat Southampton tomorrow night, I do. But at the same time, I still think it's a 50-50.
I've got a horrible feeling it's going to be one of those penalty shootout once again. It just has that feel about it, like
it does,
like the Leicester one a couple of years ago where we played Billy Cometio, then we brought all the big guns on, drew 3-3, and then sorted them out with penalties. It just has that feel of a game that could be a penalty shootout. But
what lineup would you go with?
So I'm trying to think what I would do. So I think Keller. Well, we know Keller will start.
We know
Keller will admitted that.
Yeah,
I've got a feeling Jones is going to be the right back because he's done it once before, and I think he'll do that. Norris will be left back.
Mm-hmm.
Quans will be centre back. It's who the other centre back is. Will he go with Nallo and give the youngster a run out, or will he do like a Gomez 45 and Nallo comes on second half? That's the only bit I can't quite hang my hat on.
I wouldn't be surprised if he starts Gomez and uses Nallo to possibly, if we get ahead, maybe use Nallo to come in for Norris and shift Joe Gomez wide. You got to remember, Joe has. I mean, we need him for the weekend and what have you. Joe Gomez really hasn't played that much football this season, so he should be fine. He should be fine to play. 3 games a week. Is one thing. Apart from impact injuries, his general fitness has always been good. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Joe Gomez and Gerald Kwanzaa start. And it'd be good to see them start as well, because it's a centre-back pairing that we might need to see, at some point this season. And I'd like to have them have proper minutes under their belt to see how they get on as a partnership, But, yeah, that would be the back four I'd go with. I mean...
Yeah.
I can understand the Norris chat.
Yeah. Midfield, I think Endo, McAllister and nailed on. I would have said Harvey Elliott, but I think it's going to be Morton now, because my assumption was going to be Chiesa will get an hour, Jota will get last half hour. That's how they'll work it on, front three. But the way he's talking, Jota, I mean, we also have a debate in our Telegram, people saying, Jota's injured again. I don't think... But the way I understood it, I don't think he's injured. I think it's first game back after over 2 months out with cracked... The rumour is cracked ribs and potential punctured lung, but nothing was ever confirmed because they don't.
Yeah.
That seems to be Slot's way. He doesn't really confirm what the injuries are. He just says they're injured. I'm not going to tell you what they're injured with, which is fair enough. It's a prerogative. And I think it's just like, 2 months out, came on, give it, against 10 men. That's just took it out of him a little bit. So I think they're just being gentle with him. And I got the impression with Chiesa, they're like, yeah, he's ready to go now, but maybe not from the start. So I would say the front three is going to be Elliott, Nunez, Gakpo. I think this feels like Gakpo's competition. And because he was took off earliest of all the attackers, I think that's why Gakpo will start. And Diaz will be on the bench. Diaz and Dan's will be the bench options. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if Harvey does 90. But I can see him starting
I think he needs 90.
Yeah, I think I can see him starting on the wing and maybe dropping back into midfield later, depending on the game situation.
Yeah. And I can see like Gakpo doing an hour, and then either Diaz, Dan's, or Jota come on for him. Go that way.
Well, Tony makes a point there. Injury-prone Joe Gomez. Joe Gomez injuries have generally tended to be impact injuries.
The only one he studied training was when he blew his knee out against England, and that was on England duty.
On England.
All the others have been. In fact, he's done both. He's done his knees twice on England duty. All the other injuries have been impact injuries, broken ankle, things. It's been an impact. It's always been a bad tackle. Like a tackle.
A bad tackle. Like that, and it's something you can't really let.
Muscle injury. It's not like Jota. Jota seems to have a lot of muscle injuries. That's been more Jota's issue.
Well, Robert Maguire is going with Kelleher, Kwanzaa, Gomez, Nallo. Well, he's got Gomez in there twice, so that's a bit strange.
Well, to be fair, we work with Gravenberch at the weekend, so just get one lad.
Look, Joe Gomez, JJ Okachu is so good you name him twice. Jojo Gomez is like, he's the man. Endo, McAllister, Jones, Elliott, Nunez, Gakpo. Hard to predict what Southampton will do. They'll be more defensive than the other night. They got to be. I mean, they do. The thing is, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if we see Chiesa start on the wing
and move to centre forward.
No, I think you could see him given 45, maybe 60, depending on how he goes. And Harvey start in midfield, and then you bring Morton on for Chiesa and move Harvey up front, onto the right.
Yeah, that's another option.
But I think up front, Darwin and Cody wouldn't surprise me, because Cody and Luis Diaz have shared their minutes pretty well through the season.
And Darwin did 15 in the Fulham game, to be fair.
Yeah. The only concrete thing you can nail down safely say is that Mo Salah and Virgil won't be anywhere near a starting lineup. That's not to say that they won't be off the bench options.
Break glass
if
option.
need be. Yeah. Or even, just to help them manage the minutes. I don't expect to see Jota. Not if he hasn't trained. I think they'll be more cautious with him.
I think he said he was due to train today, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, but given the nature of the injury that he had, I think at best you might see him for 10 minutes.
That's what I think
at
it is.
the
I
end.
think he'll get 10, 15 off the bench. Plus, let's be honest with Jota, if it goes to penalties, he's quite handy for the pen. He loves scoring a winning pen in the shootouts and give it the big one.
Yeah.
So
sure.
right before we go, there's a couple of questions in here. One from Cop Out Rules on Trent. I haven't heard anyone ask him if he wants to stay. He doesn't need to say it without the question. I think he's already gone. I think, as I said, and with Shawnee, his attitude sometimes stinks.
Okay.
I think he's got that kind of language. I think he's got that kind of language style anyway, which can rub people up the wrong way. My thing with the Trent, and you can correct me, is I think a lot of the Trent stuff is people reading body language. If he has a bad game, his head's already gone, and because there's nothing leaked out from his side really. I mean, all the stuff you heard leaked about Trent comes from Marca, which we all know they're the mouthpiece of Real Madrid, and that's how they like to destabilize things. But you haven't really heard it. I mean, to be fair to Van Dijk's he's been asked one question twice where he said, "No, nothing yet, but I'd like to stay," and that's it. That's all Van Dijk's come out with.
Yeah, I think the media officer who's always behind the interviewers will have told every single interviewer, do not ask Trent about his contract situation because the interview will end.
Yeah.
And until a broadcaster tells the presenter to say, we don't care, ask the question, the question probably just won't be asked. You've seen them. Mo Salah's quite happy to talk about it. Virgil is very hesitant on talking about it, but I honestly think the media officer at the club will have instructed everyone who's interviewing Trent, do not talk about the contract situation because you might not like what happens next.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that's how he's playing it. But it's just a case of we'll see what happens. He did come out and say himself he's signed many contract extensions at the club. None of them have ever been done in public. This won't be any different. But when he talks in interviews talking about Arne Slot, he waxes lyrical about him tactically. He waxes lyrical about how he's improved him as a player and how deep into the position Arne Slot is getting him to think about it. Now, the Fulham game was, I ripped him to shreds in the post-match.
Yeah, I watched because interesting because
you were there.
I was there. So,
yeah,
and I've seen people on social media going, "Oh, everyone on the ground was going out." Where I was in the Lower Kenny, the only stuff that was shouted at Trent was his dead balls because it was shit. All his dead balls were shit. But the cracking times, like even when he didn't, so like the second goal where Robson blasts past him, people were more by me critical of Kwanzaa, going, where that ball's going. That's the ball they've been playing all game. And Gravenberch kept cutting that out, and he didn't read the ball, so it was too late. And Lowe, I had Lowe saying like, "Oh, he take Trent off." And everyone said he just looked knackered for the game. For bits where we were sat on the ground, he was shuttling from right back, centre back, and to be honest, to me, he just looked like he was knackered. He looked to me knackered on about just before 60, and he probably should have been took off a bit sooner. And I think he's had a bit of a bad game, but there's no one around me saying like, "Oh, he's fucking off him," or he's this and that and the other. He just to me, he had an off game, but he also looked knackered.
I'm seeing a lot of stuff that's because I'm not on Twitter anymore, but it tends to feed into some other social media sites that I am on.
Or you get WhatsApps off me.
Yeah, of figures like Tony there mentions the do we really want to write back on 250 grand a week? I don't fucking care. It's not my money.
It's not my money. But also, and
as long as it fits into PSR, and if he signs his extension for the next 5 years, and we don't have to talk about this again for 3 more years, I don't care. At the end of the day, as long as it doesn't affect the wage structure at the club, I'm quite happy.
Put it this way, if he goes, say if he goes and it says, "Oh, because the club wouldn't pay him 250 grand a week," no one's saying, "Oh, who gives a fuck? He's a right back." Everyone will be going, "These owners again, fuck's sake, why aren't these owners just pay the money?" Well, ultimately, as long as the club can afford it, I don't really care what you pay a player.
Yeah.
I actually would rather not know what players earned. I
Yeah.
generally could not give a shit because all
Here's the
it
thing.
leads to annoyance.
Yep. Here's the other thing. Carvajal at Real Madrid, I think he's the longest serving player at the club. If not, he's one of. He's on 200 grand a week. Arguably, one of the best players in the world last year. At his age, he was phenomenal. There is no way in God's green earth that Real Madrid are paying him more than what Liverpool will be offering him. The question is going to be, what do you want? And we'll find out soon enough, But I'd be very wary of, bear in mind what Trent has said and the fact that the club do not discuss player contracts in public unless they know something is happening and they're leaking it. And they only leak it to a handful of journalists. So, you all know who they are. So if some random account on social media is saying X player has been offered X amount and the club have said rejected it, that's clickbait nonsense. That's there to get shares, to get likes, to get clicks, to get attention. It's absolute gibberish. Don't give it the credence that person wants, because it's just literally there to get attention. It ain't worth it.
But the latest leak came from Sergio Aguero, which made me laugh. Aguero said, I think Salah signed his new deal. I thought, this is what the Sergio Aguero got our insider knowledge.
The thing is with Sergio Aguero has started a Twitch stream going back a while. And this isn't the first transfer stuff that he's talked about on his Twitch stream. And at the end of the day, he's kind of like Jota. He loves gaming. And he does let stuff go on his stream. And the thing is, bearing in mind who he is, who he knows in the game, the agents that he knows in the game, and the football world might be globally the biggest in the world, but at the very, very tip-top echelons of the game, it's a very small circle, and it doesn't take much for someone like him to be able to find stuff out. Now, whether he should have said it or not is another question, but at the end of the day, I'd be more likely to take what Sergio Aguero says on his own stream, because at the end of the day, he doesn't need the clicks and the likes. He doesn't need the clicks and likes to get his name out there, than I am Joe Blogs at whatever with a few thousand followers trying to get attention for whatever reasons they want to. I just think coming up to this time of year, you got to be very careful about who you start to trust with information, because at the end of the day, ultimately, until something is signed, we don't know.
Yeah, I think so. Right, before we go any further, let me do my admin, because I nearly forgot last time, and I'll get in trouble. So our mates again, who are sponsoring us, Football Prizes, have the biggest ever Liverpool competition. It is 39p a ticket, and there are 9,999 tickets on sale. This is on until the 20th of December. The prize is 2 hospitality tickets for Liverpool versus Leicester, plus 29 instant win prizes, which are signed shirts from the likes of Crouch, Torres, Littman, Xavi Alonso. So, and it's 39.
I'm looking at him here, mate. Crouch, Torres, Littman, Alonso, Henderson, Fabinho, Agar, Arbeloa, Hipia, Trent. Hospitality tickets. There's signed gloves from Pepe Reina. There's signed everything up the yazoo, plus loads of instant prices as well. I'm telling you what, 39p? Where are you going?
Footballprize.co.uk. Links in the description below. It's also on our Twitter feed. I mean, look, 39p, so it's worth a giggle, isn't it? I mean, I've already had a go with it, Kev, because for that money, you got to,
ain't you? You got to, ain't you?
Yeah. Well, you've lost nothing. So, also scroll along the bottom is our 2 charity partners, which is the Lighthouse Cafe in Dublin and Fan Supporting Food Banks in Liverpool. Our aim is to get to €10,000, 5,000 for each charity. If you don't know what they are, the Lighthouse Cafe helps feed the homeless in Dublin city centre, and Fan Supporting Food Banks, you see them outside all the games. It's help feed people who can't afford it. So look, these charities are really important, and we'll keep banging on until we get to this target. So like, share it, put it on all your social medias, put it in your WhatsApp groups, put it in your work emails, and donate what you can. As Kev always says to me, it's the 5s and 10s that get you there. So
Yeah,
if we could do that, that'd be
100%.
great. Thor with a comment of a nice get hot.
I was going to say, before you get to Thor, I just wanted to mention this with Richard Howell, the 7 months member now. If you want to join, if you want to become a member, it's $3.99 a month. It is a really good laugh. The Telegram group is hopping every day. Every match day is brilliant. It's hilarious. A really good laugh. A really good atmosphere as well in there, where you get a good group of people who are active almost all the time. And if you just want to chat nonsense or you want to chat football, it's there for you. Also, there's members shows. There's members like last night where it was live for everyone, but only members could talk or could chat and whatever. So for $3.99, give it a go. It's well worth it. But Richard asked the question: Kirkes to Liverpool in January. What do you think?
I can't see Bournemouth selling him in January. They don't need to sell him. I think it's a summer job. I wouldn't say no to him, but if he's coming in January, then it says to me one of the other two left backs is off. Which would say to me, if it's dealt with two, it's probably Tsimikas, and that's not my anti-Tsimikas bias. It's because he's younger. You could probably get your money back at him. I think Robbo's just going to be allowed to run his contract down when he goes in his early 30s. I mean, speaking of Costas, he's back in training today, which is a big boost. I'm not sure he'll make the squad. Depends. But then again, he was only out for a couple of weeks, so he might be on the bench. But hopefully, he's on the bench for Spurs, and then maybe he'll start against Leicester. And I think that will also help Andy Robertson. Is
massively.
Because people forget he was man of the match against Girona the game before, not that long ago. I just think we've asked him to go again because of where we are injury wise. So, it is what it is. Ant Dick's saying Bournemouth are in talks with a left back. So listen, maybe there's something in it. We will see. If we sign it, I'm not gonna. It's good. You would turn your nose at it, but if you ask me honestly, what the Liverpool need, and they could only sign one player, bring another centre mid in, a centre mid in that the manager trusts. I don't particularly care whether it's an attacking mid or a defensive mid, just another centre mid that he trusts. So then you've got the four lads he trusts and another, and then you kind of, I think that just takes a bit of pressure off everyone then.
Well, Abdul Rahman, I assume I'm pronouncing it right, as Aït-Nouri or Kirkes. I've got to lay my cards on the table now. Aït-Nouri is probably going to end up at Old Trafford. I think he's an excellent wing back. I think he's I think he's an atrocious fullback. I just don't think he's got a defensive head in him whatsoever. Kind of like Poirot at Spurs, a brilliant wing back. Put him in a fullback, and he's very easy to manipulate in the position. Kirkes, I was banging on about Kirkes in the summer. I would have wanted him then, and I still do. I think Kirkes is a summer move, personally, because I can't see us ending this season with three left backs. There are definitely other areas of the pitch that I think need attention, and I hope that we go away from this notion that the January window is not something that we use. I think we get two opportunities every year to improve your squad. The January window is one, and I think that we need to start to look to take advantage of that if an opportunity comes up, especially in midfield. But
if you look at our starting lineup, Van Dijk, Diaz, Gakpo, all recent January signings.
Exactly. I think it's a window that in the early years under FSG, I think we underutilized it. I think there were some moves that happened, and you're looking at it and you're thinking, I wish we were in there. Someone asked there, actually, it was an interesting question. Should we be looking at getting in another number 6? I wouldn't be a bit surprised if we turned around and signed an attacking midfielder. I think I wouldn't be a bit surprised if you turn around and targeted someone like Reinders, AC Milan, and maybe look to drop Curtis Jones deeper and use Curtis Jones, Alexis McAllister, and Ryan Gravenberch as a 3 to rotate in 2 positions.
Yeah,
and maybe bring in someone like I just look at the quality of a number 6 that's out there at the moment that you'd look to try to sign for the money that we'd look to try to spend for the quality that we'd look for in return. I don't think they're there. You know, I don't think there's an abundance. It's like there's a lot of attacking midfielders out there. I think there's good value to be had in that market, in that area, and I think. Of the centre mids that we have, I think Curtis I think he could do what Gravenberch is doing.
Based on what I saw at the weekend, you could play Szoboszlai deeper with his engine, not as the 6, as the one next to the 6. If you know what I mean, you know, because to be fair to him, I mean, listen, Gravenberch was man of the match hands down, but Szoboszlai definitely did the running of 2 players. It was. Unreal the ground he covers. It's, you know, that's just a different level of fitness, you know, and he used the ball well, actually, to be fair to, which has always been a criticism of him this season, is how he used the ball. But actually, I thought he used the ball really well. It was smart with it.
Superdiz was asking, I don't think Reinders would be cheap. No, nor do I. I don't think he'd be cheap.
But I don't think any midfielder in January will be cheap.
No.
To be fair.
And
even the lads we signed in January haven't been cheap, have they?
No. But I think he's definitely good enough that you bring him in, he definitely improves the squad.
Yes.
And I think that's what you have to be looking at. If the player costs 60, 65 million, then that's what he costs. And that's the market of what we're playing in. You know, I mean, Cahill, you know, or someone else was asking about Zubamendi. It's like, yeah, Zubamendi would be the kind of player you bring in to push McAllister more forward. But you know, I think he's more of a dictator in the number 6 position. You know, he's good at breaking up the play. He's very good at setting the tempo. But again, I said it a while back. I could see him at Man City. I just think he's a Pep player. He looks like a Pep player, and the fact that they are in dire straits, in desperate need, and they have money to spend. It's just a case of can they get them. But look, we'll do plenty of transfer shows over the next few weeks, over Christmas and leading into January. But there are good options out there, and I think we'll do something. I think we'll do a bit.
I think it'd be an interesting January just across the league, because I think you can make an argument every team in the Premier League probably needs something, some more than others.
Yeah, some more than others for sure.
But we probably haven't said every season. You know, but we've been in that situation. So, what score prediction are you going for, young Kev?
I think there's goals in it. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see a 3-2 again. I just think this is going to be I think it's going to be a real game, a real cup tie. I think they'll try to hit us on the counter. You know, they might try to dominate the play, but I don't think they'll play with a back 5. I think they'll play with a back 4. And see how that goes, but it didn't work out well for them against Spurs. But at the same time, we're not going to be as fluid as what we normally are. I think there's definitely goals in this. I'm really looking forward to it, genuinely.
Sorry, Michael Murphy's coming. Titus Bramble like a bet player at the moment. Oh, God, that's one for the teenagers, isn't it? Titus Bramble.
Oh yeah, Titus Bramble. Titus Bramble, my God! I tell you what, he was so highly thought of at the time when he was breaking through.
Oh,
he was such a jobber.
You know, the other lad and he went to Newcastle, didn't he? After Ipswich.
Yeah, he went to Newcastle. Big money at the time.
But do you remember the other lad they got for Newcastle for around a similar time? Was it Basong?
Yeah.
The French centre back. He was also cack. But he
was massive.
And he had a big reputation, but he was awful.
Yeah, they couldn't buy a player for love nor money at the time, could they?
They eventually got Jonathan Woodgate. It was good for him, and then he went to Real Madrid.
Yeah, that didn't work out.
And Dicko's got 3-1 to us. Gavin's got 3-1 as well. Super Dizzle's got a Dan's hat trick. Titus Shambles. Madge Apple's got 3-3 pens. Queeve the hero again. That's
Alan
it.
Boom song. Sean Allen
Boom song. Sean Allen Boom
That's
song. Yeah.
Sean Allen Boom
Oh,
song. Oh
God, yeah. Oh, we could do a show. I like it. Random players from the 90s and early 2000s that were just average.
I tell you what, I think tomorrow night's going to be a cracking game. I just think it's 90 minutes straight to pens, and all results are genuinely on the table. Yeah, I love
hotlines because 4-0, Darwin 2, Elliot 1, Chiesa 1.
It's possible. It's very possible.
My heart is saying something like 4-2 Liverpool, but my head is going 2-2 pens. I'm kind of hoping it's not pens because I'll be honest, I could do without that in my life. But
I don't know. Have you been watching?
We don't know what they're going to do.
No, we don't know. This is the thing. Have you been watching to see how many minutes Dance has been playing since he's come back from injury? Where's Steve Murphy in the chat when you need him?
I know.
I think if someone in the chat knows, the thing is, I don't think if Dance hasn't played
I don't think he
much with the 21s. Yeah, I think he might get 20 minutes at the end, kind of thing. You know, and it wouldn't surprise me if Darwin starts and Darwin ends up going to the left and Dance comes on. You know, just it's another option.
He looked to play. He was supposed to go out on loan, wasn't he, in the summer? But unfortunately, picked up a nasty back injury, didn't he? Which has been a shame for him.
Well,
it would have been good.
Sam there says he saw Dan's playing the European Youth League against Girona, but he's not sure how many minutes he played. I don't know either.
Dan J saying he thinks he got about 70 against Girona.
Yeah, so he could be good for 20 minutes, half hour.
Yeah, the fact there's no added time also takes a little bit of the risk out of subs as well, if you know what I mean, because you can guarantee that was always the thing when you had a player coming out finish, you're going, but if it does go to extra time, it's not actually 20 minutes to give him. I'm giving 50, and I don't want to give him 50. So that's where you've got to worry about it. So in the rest of the football world, there's some fun going on in Chelsea there. So for those of you who haven't seen it, Mudryk has been suspended for a drugs test failure. I think obviously they're looking to do another a second test to see if he is failed or not. But I'll be honest, Kev, and I know this is really cruel, but Christ me, if that's him on performance enhancing drugs, the man needs to get a refund because he's been cack for them anyway. But
the thing is with him, it's his A sample tested positive. It's the same drug that Maria Sharapova, tennis player, got done for, and apparently it's one of those ones that aids recovery, aids cognitive awareness. I don't know. Look, at the end of the day, he tested positive for his A sample. He was provisionally suspended until the B sample is tested, but it doesn't look good. And the thing is, you've seen players getting suspensions for up to 4 years. He signed an 8-year contract at Chelsea for potentially up to 80 million. So, irrespective of what wages he's on, that's a big dent in Chelsea's PSR because they'll be unable to move him. The only thing is they could do, and I'd imagine every player would have something in their contract that they could cancel his contract. That doesn't mean they get to cancel the fee they've had to pay for it.
No, but they could cancel paying any more of his wages because I think logistically legally that's just classed as gross misconduct.
So exactly. They could sack him, but they're still stuck with. They've still stuck with an 80 plus, potentially upwards of up to 80 million hole in their budgets because odds are, I reckon, what Chelsea's plan would have been keep him for a year or two. If you can flip him, you flip him. If not, you use him as a make way to get someone else, whatever jiggery pokery their plan is. But that's probably gonna come back to sting Chelsea down the line.
Never mind.
And the other big news of the day, Marcus Rashford. I mean, it's not really news. But
I've missed this.
apparently,
Go on, what's this stuff?
okay. Apparently, he went on a date. He was doing, the players they go and do, like, go back to his old school and what have you. This was already, this was all prearranged that he was going back with Henry Winter to his old school. And during the interview, during the day, he basically turned around to Henry Winter and said, "When I leave," he basically come out and said, "Look, I want to leave. I am going to be leaving, whether it's going to be in the January window or the summer, who knows." But for me personally, I think I'm ready for a new challenge and the next steps. When I leave, I'll make a statement, and it will be from me, which is like, there's
obviously something bubbling behind the scenes that he's not happy with. Yeah.
I think he's not happy with the allegations that came out at the weekend that he's leaking team information. That's my guess.
Well, the rumor about that was it was Garnacho's brother.
Well, we don't know. I mean,
we don't know, but that was the other rumor going out. It was Garnacho's brother. Well, the other rumor was that they were trying to claim it was he'd been out.
His lifestyle.
Yeah, against his. I mean, Gary Neville tore him to strips because he went to wherever he flew to on his days off, and said it was this much jet lag, and actually half the stuff he said was wrong. I mean, Gary Neville being wrong about stuff is nothing new there. Well, I felt for a while though he's needed a change of scenery. I feel like he's stagnated a little bit there. But I can understand for him why it's having to leave. We can all talk about the money and all that stuff, but he is a Manchester lad. He is that is his club.
Yeah,
so that's always a hard pull for him.
He's 27.
But who could afford it?
This is it. He's on 350 grand a week. He's got 4 years left on his contract. His contract runs till 2028. I don't think there's any club in Europe will pay the kind of money Manchester United want and the wages that he'll command. But I think Manchester United desperately need to sell him because they are stuck on a PSR red zone, if you want to put it that way. They're really struggling. They desperately need a rebuild. They desperately need to start buying players that fit Amarim's way of playing. And to do that, you have to sell players that are going to give you big PSR profit. Marcus Rashford is definitely one of them. Yeah. So and Garnacho is another. So the other thing, Mag just said they're still linked to PSG. They are, but I think PSG have slightly looked to go away from that model of buying, players of that ilk, of that caliber.
They want to buy up all the exciting young French players and become like a bit of a hub for the elite French players, which is not a bad idea.
I think Hotline is not far off. I think there's a very distinct possibility that unless he's willing to take a pay cut to go to a club where, like, i.e. in Germany, Bayern Munich are capable of paying that kind of wage, but they won't match the fee that Manchester United, because I can imagine Manchester United are going to be looking for north of 70 million for him. Given because he's really highly thought of outside of England, massively so. But I wouldn't be a bit surprised if you start seeing links to Saudi Arabia, to maybe the club that Ronaldo's at, or one of the top Saudi clubs, and it will probably benefit Manchester United to sell him to Saudi Arabia because they will pay the top end fee because he's a marquee signing.
Yeah,
but whether he as a player, look,
at 27,
I think his England days are done. So he may look at it and say, look, I'm just going to make hay while the sun shines. And if Saudi are offering me $1 million a week to go and play there, and Manchester United are going to make however much they're going to demand for him, say if it's a Saudi club, they could turn around and demand 100 million. That gives them a lot of wiggle room to reinvest that money. But we'll see. But I think he moves sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's best for both parties. I kind of feel like he's. I think a fresh start will do him good. But like you said, who they can get a deal for him. I suppose that's going to be the challenge.
Well,
Cool. And then, did you say
the
about
others,
the FIFA World 11? Was it?
Yeah, that was the other thing that came out. I mean, look, it's basically the poor man's Ballon d'Or. It's
that the thing that Thingy's won? Vinicius Junior, because he got really upset when he didn't win the actual Ballon d'Or, didn't he?
Well, yeah, spat dummies out left, right, and centre. Here's the thing. All right, here's the 1 to 11 for the men's 11. Okay.
Listen.
Emi Martinez in goal. Carvajal, Diaz,
makes sense.
Saliba.
Diaz is in City's Diaz.
City's Diaz, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Bear in mind it's for last season.
Yeah.
So Diaz, Saliba, and for some obscure reason, Tony Rudiger at left back. Don't ask.
Okay.
Jude Bellingham, Tony Kroos, and Rodri in the middle of the park, with Vinicius, Haaland, and Lamal up front. I wouldn't have Kroos in there. He's had a good season, but that's a sentimental thing to put him in there. He didn't play that much for Madrid last season. You know, and Germany did absolute cack in the Euros. They didn't pick a left back for whatever reason. You mean to tell me they couldn't find a left back? I'd have had Theo Hernandez in there all day long. There is rumors that Theo Hernandez is going to be moving in the summer.
Ooh. Where to?
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it's Real Madrid are making a big, huge play about this. You know, and the Spanish clubs are making a big, huge play about this FIFA 11 and all that. But at the end of the day, it's the Ballon d'Or is the one. You know, that's the one that people remember. Nobody remembers who won this award. To be fair, the women's was a very easy decision to make.
Books the Barcelona squad.
Bob Matty won it again. Backed up for Ballon d'Or. That's back-to-back wins now for Bob Matty. She is head and shoulders the best women's player in the game, bar none. But yeah, look, I mean, women. I mean, you have the women's European UEFA Champions League, and credit where it's due. Chelsea beat Real Madrid in Madrid. They came back from 1-0 down. To win it 2-1, 2 penalties. But other than that, you know, I think today has just been a real day for Bray. I think the best thing for Mikhailo Mudryk is the fact that Marcus Rashford interview came out today. Yeah. Because if it wasn't for that, Chelsea would be asked questions left, right, and centre. And Lego Head would be asked, are you really counting the Charity Shield as a major trophy?
Oh, bless him. Absolute blessing.
But yeah, that's what I mean. That was all today. It was a lot happened.
See, Kevin, they said we couldn't get an hour out of this.
Nah, we can do an hour out of anything, mate.
Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah.
Why isn't Gravenberch the best bowler on the planet? Michael Murphy.
Well, I think that because that list was based on last year.
Yeah. Give the devil his due on this season, right? Caicedo's having an absolute stormer.
He is. He's finally showing the form. Why they paid the money for him.
Exactly. I think Gravenberch has been exceptional this season, bar the odd 1 or 2 games. I think he's been absolutely exceptional. But I think he's been exceptional because we didn't see it coming.
Yes.
Caicedo is producing the form that we knew he had from Brighton. Is the reason why we wanted him in the first place. And Chelsea are reaping the rewards of it now. And it looks like he's going to be a problem for a good few years to come.
Yeah. Just hopefully not this year, right?
Hopefully not. No, he won't. Oh, mate, he's certainly not worth 115 million. Not in a month of sun. Caicedo or Enzo Fernandez, none of them are worth that kind of money for us. And Declan Rice, not worth the money, no way near. And I don't care what anyone says. Centre mids are brilliant. I love watching midfielders. They're probably my favourite position on the pitch to watch for any club, but they are not worth that kind of money under any circumstances whatsoever.
I know. Anyway, so Rest of the week, tomorrow night, it's our two ugly mugs again, with hopefully Ashley and Matt.
Yeah.
Doing the post-match reaction. Aim is 10 o'clock, unless it goes to penalties. And if it goes to penalties, we'll jump on just after that. And then the rest of the week, just hit the bell icon, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and see what's happening the rest of the week. Kev will probably do a post-match, won't we, for the Tottenham game?
Yeah, more than likely.
And there'll definitely be a fat back four. But you know,
the one thing I'll say,
now, so it's a bit haphazard now. Of there will be shows, but probably not.
It's going to be kids who's available, who's got family commitments, and who's going to be about, and who's out in the lash. Gavin Walsh, we will definitely come to that. What do you think of Chelsea's title challenge? We'll probably cover that tomorrow night, depending on how the game goes. So chuck it back into chat again tomorrow night. But it's something we'll definitely chat about.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, cool. But listen, on that happy note, we will let you all go. Have a nice evening, and Mr. O'Sullivan, I will see you tomorrow. Until then, guys, speak to you very soon. Bye bye.